surgery in the fall of 2023. The Dodgers beat San Francisco Sunday 5-4. Ohtani was 3 for 3 at the plate and scored 2 runs. The Angels were swept in their 3-game series at Baltimore. They lost 11-2 on Sunday. The Angels start a 4-game series tonight in New York against the Yankees. The NBA Finals resume tonight with Game 5 in Oklahoma City. OKC and the Indiana Pacers are tied at 2-2 in the best of 7. TV ratings for the NBA Finals are down 20% from last year after 4 games. Tip-off time tonight is 5:30 on ABC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Took the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only Black Talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I am live in Los Angeles, California at KBLA 1580 Talk. And I could be very well sitting behind one of the most sacred desks in America. The desk where Tavis Smiley, weekly, Monday through Friday from 9 to 12 p.m. speaks to the nation. Some ministers speak every Sunday for an hour, hour and a half from their pulpits, 52 times a year. But here, our community gets tremendous information, motivation, and inspiration. This is our sacred pulpit. For the president, he has a bully pulpit, and now we have a bully in the bully pulpit. But we have a pulpit of love here at KBLA, and we continue to speak truth to power. You heard it from Cornel West and Nina Turner. It started this morning with Dominique DePrima, and then through Tavis Smiley's show, on to the Jesse Jackson Jr. show, and then to Nicordelai Corte. We try our very best to bring you the truth. Today, being here in Los Angeles and behind this sacred desk, I've given some reflection to Juneteenth and what it means, what it should mean. The date, the 4th of July, 1852. Speech delivered on July 5th. Frederick Douglass invited to Rochester, New York, to discuss and to talk about the meaning of July 4th. Frederick Douglass shared with us insights on the holiday from our ancestors 11 years before the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. The sentiments, the feelings, the concerns, the gross inadequacies that the Republic and the Constitution itself meant to the United States and to the American people. 1863, the Emancipation Proclamation. And what happened for the next 2 years for Blacks in Texas was no one told them that the Emancipation Proclamation had been issued. The people of Texas, the slaveholders of Texas, kept the news from plantations. Black people in Texas worked 2 years longer than they had to. That's 1865. The meaning of the Juneteenth holiday. No barbecue, no coleslaw, no ribs, no hog maws, no collard greens, no sweet potato pies, no dancing, no drinking a whole lot of liquor, just anger and disgust. And that's what I want to reflect upon for the next hour. In that speech, Frederick Douglass says this, for the purposes of this celebration, July 4th, it is the birthday of your national independence and your political freedom. This to you is what the Passover was to the emancipated people of God. It carries your minds back to the clay and to the act of your great deliverance and to the signs and to the wonders associated with the act that day. This celebration also marks the beginning of another year of your national life and reminds you that the Republic of America is now, at that time, 76 years old. I am glad, fellow citizens, that your nation is so young. 70 years ago, and 10 is the allotted time for the individual men, but nations number their years by thousands. According to this fact, you are even now only in the beginning of your national career, still lingering in the period of your childhood. I repeat, I'm glad this is so. There is hope in that thought. And hope is much needed under the dark clouds which lower above the horizon. Later, he would say, what to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than any other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery, your prayers and your hymns, your sermons and your thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him more bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin well to veil up crimes for which would disgrace a nation of savages. This is not a nation on earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than the people of these United States at this very hour. When we come forward, I want to ask the question, and I'm going to do my best to answer it. What to the American Negro is Juneteenth? I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, more on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
No warrant, no key. My privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights.
Breeze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
LA's newest soul food restaurant is getting spectacular reviews.
Great place with amazing food. The Sunday champagne brunch is fabulous. I saw the place on IG. We tried it for lunch. We were blown away by the food and the service. The restaurant has an inviting atmosphere and a dynamic vibe.
Over the years, Lionel has catered most major Black events in Los Angeles, including all of our KBLA Talk 1580 gatherings. But now he has his own spot, Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine, and you need to check it out at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles. Oxtails, baked or fried chicken, meatloaf, turkey chops, pork chops, catfish, short ribs, and all the fixins. Collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, red beans, black-eyed peas, and more. And of course, hot water cornbread, satisfying drinks, and delicious desserts. Lionel's is a great place for brunch, lunch, or dinner. If it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you, because we've got your black. So head on over to Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Lionel you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the voice of reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I want to be on this roll for the next part of this show. Frederick Douglass continues, go where you may, search where you will, roam through all of the monarchies and despotisms of the old world, travel through South America, he says, search out every abuse. And when you found the last, lay your facts by the side of everyday practices of this nation. And you will say with me that the revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy America reigns without a rival. That's Frederick Douglass in 1852. Celebrating the 76th July 4th. 11 years before the Emancipation Proclamation, 13 years before the people of Texas, the enslaved, realized that 2 years ago they should have been freed, and 15 years before the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, and about 16 years before the 15th Amendment and the Negro had the right to vote. I don't know how you feel about Juneteenth, but I feel some kind of way about it. No King's Day on this July 4th? If Frederick Douglass were here, he would talk about the hypocrisy of this nation. It's shameful hypocrisy. A nation conceived in liberty, but on this July 4th, African American mayors from Los Angeles to Chicago to New York to Atlanta to Detroit, Michigan are under attack. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 under attack. Historically Black colleges and universities across our nation under attack. Black contracting opportunities throughout our nation, from sea to shining sea, under attack. African Americans' ability to go to law school and to medical school and to provide critical research at the National Institutes of Health, at Harvard, at Yale, in the AU Center, at Howard University, at Alabama State University, under attack. With governors of states looking for protests in African American communities to authorize the National Guards to provide a function that local police officers are not able to provide. A president wrestling with the idea of invoking the Insurrection Act of 1807. 1807. Before the American Civil War. The Insurrection Act. Before the 13th Amendment, the Insurrection Act. Before the 14th Amendment, the Insurrection Act. Before the 15th Amendment, the Insurrection Act against the American people. While redefining the idea of insurrection on January 6th. The hypocrisy of it all. And on this July 4th, we're going to have a jolly good old time. We're going to play some, and we should, some old Sly Stone. We're going to reflect upon all of the African American musicians that we've lost. We're going to have some stepper sets in Chicago. We are going to have the time of our lives on June 19th. But there is a difference between a commemoration and a celebration. Frederick Douglass is telling us 11 years before the Emancipation Proclamation that the Negro sees the nation as hypocritical in its inability to live up to the true meaning of its creed. Malcolm X said it this way: before the Mayflower, we were here. We did not land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Martin Luther King Jr. said it this way: Jefferson etched the magnificent words of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776, but we were already here. We were here before September 17th, 1787, when the Constitution was written and referred to us as 3/5 of a human being. We were already here. We were here before the Democratic Party was founded in 1793 and before the Republican Party was founded in 1854 in Ripon, Wisconsin. We were here before the Democrats and Republicans burst into an amazing killing event in battlefields across this country. And as the sun set across those battlefields, the Northern troops would come in and get their injured and their war dead, and the Confederates would come and get their injured and their war dead, and they would have a gentleman's agreement to return their injured soldiers and their dead back to their respective camps, wake up in the morning and start fighting all over again until they got to Gettysburg. July 1st through July 3rd, 1863. The North, the Northern Army of the Republic. While it had allowed United States colored troops to join the Northern Army, they could not fight in Gettysburg. They still had a gentleman's agreement. But the North was successful. Pickett lost most of his troops at Pickett's charge on that battlefield. By July 4th, it was over, with more than 60,000 people dead and corpses still lying in the field. In November of that year, Abraham Lincoln would come down to Gettysburg and deliver the Gettysburg Address. The stench of the Gettysburg dead could be smelt from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, all the way to Washington, D.C. That July 4th was unlike any other July 4th the nation has ever celebrated. Why? Because Frederick Douglass tells us that the first 87 July 4ths were in slavery. Hypocrisy. But after Gettysburg, Abraham Lincoln redefined the holiday. America was towards something. It was towards opportunities for women. It was towards freedom for Blacks. It was towards a humane immigration policy. It was towards health care for the least of these. It was towards an equal high quality education for all Americans. It was towards climate justice. It was towards employment for all Americans. It was towards employment security. America after July 4th, 1863 wasn't and is or was, it was a becoming. It was becoming something different. Because in America, unlike any other system in human history, we had a right to fight for the right. That's what made America different. America, I argue and continue to argue, belongs to the Negro. We are responsible for the definition of what it means to be an American. That's why we cannot live under a king. That's why living under kings is insufficient. That the first 15 presidents of the United States were inadequate and incapable of addressing our condition. Then came Abraham Lincoln. Not a perfect servant, but a public servant. He did something the first 15 presidents didn't do. He signed an Emancipation Proclamation, an executive order. This president has signed nearly 200 executive orders, and not one of them on the scale of the Emancipation Proclamation. Not one. 200 executive orders, one Emancipation Proclamation. And Abraham Lincoln walked into history because of presidential leadership. There's no substitute for it. The spirit energy that we feel in this nation at this hour is bombastic. We don't feel comfortable on elevators or in a line of coffee. We don't feel comfortable when we stop at a red light or pull our cars in front of other people because we don't know what the person in front of me or behind us is going to end up doing in an act of rage. The spirit energy for the entire nation flows from the very top. So what to the American Negro is Juneteenth? A day where we frolic, a day where we laugh, or a day where we reflect upon the hypocrisy of the obvious hour. That troops that once came to the South to rescue Blacks and to free us and to occupy the South because of Southern racist behavior. Our American boys, our men, and our women are being sent to our cities, headed by African American mayors, who are fighting to protect the rights and the liberties of the least of these, like we once were and still are, by the federal government to occupy our cities and not just be present. Folks, the Insurrection Act, he's going to take over local government functions. Essentially, your mayor will just be another citizen in the city. The city becomes a kind of military jurisdiction where some general in the city calls the shots. What communities can come out, what streets you can go down, what highways you can take, where you can go, where you cannot go, curfews, all under military jurisdiction. There's no such thing as invoking the Insurrection Act for Los Angeles should he choose to do so. You don't invoke the Insurrection Act just for St. Louis. You don't invoke the Insurrection Act just for Chicago. When you invoke the Insurrection Act, it is invoked for the entire nation. And then the president sits back along with his generals and determines where he wants to place troops. He doesn't invoke it a second time. He doesn't invoke it a third time. He doesn't invoke it a fourth time. He invokes it one time. And it applies to all jurisdictions within the United States. The military parade was some kind of hoax, some kind of joke. But it occurs on the period where if Frederick Douglass were living today, he would be able to give the exact same speech in 2025 that he gave in 1852. What to the Negro is Juneteenth? Is it your No King's Day? Is it the day that you point out the hypocrisy of the nation? Not just for yourself, but for other selves. Women still make 60 cents to the dollar of what men make, and yet they cannot buy bread cheaper, they cannot pay rent cheaper, they cannot go to college cheaper. They deserve an equal rights amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Our brothers and sisters who are working in these hotels in Los Angeles and in our fashion districts, they deserve an equal rights amendment to the Constitution of the United States. They deserve to have their citizenship rights protected in 2025, in 2026, and beyond. The spirit energy that engulfs this hour is different than the liberty system that they articulated for themselves on July 4th, 1776. Because after Gettysburg, we get to define different July 4ths. July 4th, 1954 was different. Brown versus the Board of Education had been decided on May 17th, 1954. American education was towards something. July 4th, 1963 was different. Just a month away, Martin Luther King Jr. would talk and share a dream with the nation. July 4th, 1972, different. Shirley Chisholm was running for president. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, we'll continue to answer the question, what to July 4th and what is Juneteenth to the American Negro? You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. 38 people were arrested during the latest No Kings protest in Los Angeles, mostly for curfew violations. Black Mayor Karen Bass has this message after more than a week straight of protest.
My message as mayor is that I respect and honor our tradition here, which is we are a city of immigrants.
Since June 7th, over 560 arrests have been made and 12 officers were injured during protests against federal immigration raids. Thousands rallied in Chicago Saturday for immigration rights as part of a nationwide No Kings protest. Police estimate 15,000 attended with just one arrest. Meanwhile, President Trump says he'll ramp up immigration raids in sanctuary cities like Chicago. And a Black Lives Matter sign at Crestwood Elementary School in Madison, Wisconsin was vandalized with white paint. Designed by fifth graders in 2020, the sign is being cleaned and restored. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Fans going to Dodger Stadium tonight to see the Dodgers in San Diego will see something they have not seen in almost 2 years. Shohei Ohtani will be the Dodgers starting pitcher. Ohtani, a two-time MVP with the Angels, is making his first pitching appearance since August 23, 2023. Ohtani was prevented from pitching while recovering from major shoulder surgery in the fall of 2023. The Dodgers beat San Francisco Sunday 5-4. Ohtani was 3 for 3 at the plate and scored 2 runs. The Angels were swept in their 3-game series at Baltimore. They lost 11-2 on Sunday. The Angels start a 4-game series tonight in New York against the Yankees. The NBA Finals resume tonight with Game 5 in Oklahoma City. OKC and the Indiana Pacers are tied at 2-2 in the best of 7. TV ratings for the NBA Finals are down 20% from last year after 4 games. Tip-off time tonight is 5:30 on ABC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa,
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the voice of reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
During this time, it's important for everyone to know your rights. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments in the U.S. Constitution protects every one of us, regardless of immigration status. The 4th Amendment requires a judicial warrant to search your home. The 5th protects your right to remain silent, and the 6th gives you the right to an attorney. Just remember,
no warrant, no key, my privacy. You don't have to speak. No lawyer inside. Don't say a thing. Yeah, we all got rights.
Hey, we all got rights.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
After nearly 20 years in Congress, he knows how to get at the issues that matter the most to you. Every day, he takes a deep dive into politics, social justice, and the stories that shape our community. This is where prominent people unpack perplexing problems. Unfiltered, unapologetic, unmissable. You're inside the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. In this hour, I have been orating on what to the Negro is Juneteenth. We live in a nation at an hour where evangelicals and others want Bibles taught in the classroom. But they don't want Black history taught in the classroom. So it's okay in the classroom to teach the Exodus story of how Jews got out of slavery. But to teach how the Negroes got out of slavery in America can't be taught. When I think about the hypocrisy of this hour, the outrage that we should have as citizens during this hour, I too ask the same question: what to the slave is Juneteenth and the 4th of July? What to the Negro is Juneteenth? Their Exodus story is the story of how Jewish people got out of slavery, but our story of the Emancipation Proclamation, our story of 2 more years of slavery in the state of Texas, our story of the 13th, 14th, 15th amendments to the Constitution is our Exodus story. We can't be taught our Exodus story in public schools, but we can learn about the Jews. And I'm not anti-Jewish. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm just making the point both stories must be taught. Their Exodus story and our Exodus story. Their story, Dr. Frederick Douglass says, this to you is what the Passover was to the emancipated people of God. It's right here in his July 4th, 1852 oration. Well, this is our Passover story. That let my people go does not work in America. It worked in the Bible. What works in America is an Emancipation Proclamation, Juneteenth, a 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, the end of slavery, the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment and citizenship rights, and allowing men, Black men, to vote with the 15th Amendment, which is later corrected by the 19th Amendment. That's the path of freedom for the Negro. And when is the last time we had a Black leader who's fought to change the Constitution? By the way, everybody says it takes too long to change the Constitution. Well, Frederick Douglass was patient. Took 15 presidents to get to the 13th Amendment, 14 presidents to get to the 15th Amendment. You have to set your eyes on the freedom associated with the Constitution. We set our eyes on passing legislation that may or may not get overturned by the Supreme Court. We set our eyes on accomplishments and goals that are not as strong and strenuous as those provided by the Constitution of the United States. One of the things I admire about the Constitution is it forces a universality. Meaning I got to go talk to white folks in Iowa and convince them that what I'm fighting for benefits them too. I got to go to Vermont, New Hampshire, because it takes 2/3 of the Congress and 3/4 of the states to amend the Constitution, an extremely high hurdle to get, to overcome. Therefore, we have to overcome it together. The Black communities across our country alone cannot do this. We need some real angry no king white folks, no kings white folks to join us in keeping kings from coming to our democracy. This may very well be the first king. But without the American experiment, more kings are assured. It's still the greatest experiment. It's not been amended in a long time, but it's overdue for some changes. And Jefferson proposed that. He said to ask a man to wear a jacket that fitted him when a boy is to ask that man to live under the regimen of his barbarous ancestors. So here we are, grown men walking around with pants too tight, jackets too small, because we're still wearing the suits that we wore when we were children. When today our society demands climate justice. But the Constitution is quiet on the question of climate justice. And since the Constitution is quiet on the question of climate justice ends up being a state-by-state proposition. Therefore, from our experience, 50 separate and unequal state environmental justice solutions, all separate and all unequal. The Constitution is quiet on the question of healthcare. Therefore, we end up with 50 different state approaches to healthcare, all separate and unequal, with states like Alabama and Mississippi refusing to provide anybody with healthcare. The Constitution is silent on the question of decent, safe, and affordable housing. Hence, every state has a different housing standard. The basic foundation for human needs and human necessities are not in the Constitution of the United States. We have instructed through time our government on what we expect the government not to do. The failure within the American experiment is our failure as a people to instruct the government on the things we expect it to accomplish on our behalf. And therefore, the right wing, conservatives, and some liberals who particularly find comfort in changing nothing, they don't fight for the end of various forms of slavery the same way we fight for various ends of forms of slavery. Because let my people go doesn't work here. What works here is Selma to Montgomery. What works here is Rosa Parks sitting in to get the nation's attention. What works here is William Barber being arrested in the capital of the United States. What works here is Reverend Al Sharpton and Jamal Bryant challenging Target and Pepsi Cola. What works here is Jimmy Lee Jackson protecting his mother, fighting for the right to vote. What works here is Shirley Chisholm speaking up. What works here is Cornel West and Nina Turner and Tavis Smiley on the radio, speaking truth to power. What works here are ministers who find their ways out of pulpits and onto these streets and begin talking to real people who got real problems, not the comfortable in the church, but the uncomfortable in the streets. What works here are people willing to risk their lives and risk their reputations for a better America and a better world. And the courage of our convictions. And the recognition that our flesh itself will not survive, but what we do and what we stand for does matter. To the larger questions of what to the Negro is Juneteenth. Loud music, Caribbean dance, cultural festivals, all necessary to remind us of who we are. But part of that remembrance is our resilience in spite of. That the celebration is a result of an inability to celebrate through most of our history. The same is true of the Memorial Day holiday. We started that. The first Thanksgiving in this country wasn't about pilgrims, it was about us. Abraham Lincoln set aside the third Thursday in November as a national day of thanks because the Union was winning the war between the states. every major holiday has some Negroes behind it. And yet over time, those holidays lose a sense of meaning because somehow barbecue and greens and sweet potato pie has taken precedence over the solemnity of the occasion. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, you're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I have some final thoughts when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Looking for a purposeful and passionate way to make a difference in your community? Volunteer with our Senior Medicare Patrol and help prevent Medicare fraud. SMP volunteers work in their community educating peers about healthcare fraud and how to prevent and detect it. Free training starts soon. Check us out online or at an SMP open house near you. We're on a mission to stop fraud. Join our team. You make a difference. Visit caspvolunteer.org. Protect yourself from Medicare card scams. Scammers may call, email, or even knock on your door claiming they need your Medicare info, asking for money or threatening to cancel your benefits. Don't fall for it. It's a scam. Remember, Medicare doesn't need to verify your information. They already have it. Medicare won't charge you for a new card and will never threaten to cancel benefits. Check your Medicare statements for suspicious charges and report scams to the California Senior Medicare Patrol at 1-855-613-7080. We're here to help.
Coverage varies by plan. View contract and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Do you own a 2005 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all? With the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering a low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save you thousands off costly vehicle repairs. Get your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage are included. For your free quote, call 800-689-5978. 800-689-5978.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, who's what? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease or AD. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? You may be able to reduce your risk by managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure, being physically active, eating healthy, and exercising your mind. To learn more about AD, the importance of early diagnosis and intervention, and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our KBLA Talk 1580 4th anniversary events are here. And seating for all four of our special events is either getting tight or it's gone. We need you to register at our KBLA1580.com website immediately. If not, let us know and let us encourage you so we can encourage you to do it right now so you don't get left out. It's our 4th anniversary and we want to commemorate and celebrate it with you. If you're planning to join us for our 4th anniversary celebration and the barbecue on the holiday, we're asking everyone to help us feed the hungry. Bring a gift card of any amount for the victims and the Altadena Fire grocery store chain or restaurants. We're grateful for whatever you bring to help the families still displaced by wilderness fires. So go to our KBLA1580.com website right now and sign up for the events you plan to attend. All of our anniversary events are free, but seating is limited and you must register. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I am live in Los Angeles on KBLA 1580 Talk because we are here to commemorate and put our Exodus story in context. We're living in very dark times. But on the side of darkness, there is hope. There is light. There are men and women who are speaking up in the midst of great sacrifice to do what is right for the people. They want to erase this history so they can't tell this story or come to terms with this story. But in this story is also their freedom. It is their hope. It is their opportunity. It is their liberation. It is their emancipation. We are not the only people emancipated by the Emancipation Proclamation. The American people, white folks, are emancipated by the proclamation. They are emancipated from their guilt, from their shame, from their blame, from the cycle of resentments and regrets. And so Dr. King says that the way out is love. The way out is mercy. The way out is forgiveness. The way out is hope. Jesse Jackson says we have to keep hope alive, and Tavis Smiley says we need to keep the faith. It means we need to hold on to the substance of things hoped for, and it is filled with evidence of things that are not seen. We press forward every single day through a difficult American experiment. And yet somewhere in our history, someone made the judgment that we could improve America. There are many countries throughout the world that we cannot improve, that we cannot change the course and the direction that they are going. But this one right here, this American experiment is something we can change. We may not be able to change it all at once. We may not get everything from the experiment that we want. But it's unimaginable what would replace the American experiment. Do you actually think that the same Supreme Court that sends our brown brothers and sisters to El Salvador stops there? Do you think that our brothers incarcerated in federal and state prisons within the United States, that their incarceration and imprisonment stops there? All it requires is some African despot to say, I'll build a large prison in my country and house Negroes. And Donald Trump would have no problem sending American citizens to a foreign prison. He's already showing you that he's capable of doing that. What to the American Negro is Juneteenth? It ought to be a day that we holler. It ought to be a day that we register and prepare to vote. It ought to be a day that every one of us becomes a deputy registrar and get 10 applications and find 10 people every day, whatever you do for a living, and add them to the rolls in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in Detroit, in the barrios and the ghettos of our nation. The only nonviolent way in this system to exercise our Christianity is to provide hope for the hopeless and have them engage the system in spite of. What to the Negro is Juneteenth? It ought to be the biggest voter registration campaign in the history of the nation. If 5 million people can show up across our country for No King's Day, we should have had our organizations in every march registering people to vote. Everybody gathered in one location. Pick up a couple of million new voters. More than enough to change the outcome of the last election. We have to change our protest into power and turn it into something that matters to people. School boards, state legislatures, gubernatorial races, congressional races, a new president, someone who believes in government of, for, and by the people, and not a monarchy or an oligarchy of, for, and by his own personal family. And I'm going to close on this. The past is prologue. Every single event, including yesterday's events, matter to the world that we have today. Decisions made in the last administration and the administration before that administration and the administration before that administration make the present what it is. This isn't just about this present administration. It's also a reflection about the past administration that we did not hold accountable because we were told he loved us. He's the Democrat. She's the Democrat. But did they put all of the skin in the game? Did they fully understand what was at stake? Did they love the American people enough? Did they register enough people to vote? Did they go to the places where, well, politicians don't go? Registered people in the jails and in the prisons and in the corners and in the shelters and on the streets and give them a reason to participate. These moments of reflectivity aren't just about the present, they're also about our immediate past. Because Frederick Douglass was raising a very important question for us on July 4th, 1852, having not experienced Juneteenth yet. But there is no way, in the minds of Frederick Douglass and the ancestors that we represent, who for 87 July 4th, before July 4th, 1863, 87 celebrations, did not find themselves participating in the American experiment at all. But the 162 July 4ths since then equal and mean something else. An opportunity for change, an opportunity for hope. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I'm live in Los Angeles. We're going to be here all week commemorating Juneteenth, and happy anniversary, KBLA. Without you, we wouldn't know where we would be. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Until tomorrow.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.